Start recording. All right. Hi guys, my name is Destini Monique with Keller Valentine.
And I'm Dave DeSilva with Keller Valentine, and I've got a LLC called LongTab Realty.
Oh, nice. Let me throw mine out there. I'm Destini Monique Realty.
Yeah, and we're going to be, this is something new we're doing. This is going to be
sure.
Destini and Dave's D2 questions answered about real estate in general.
Yes, for sure. So D2.
Yeah.
All right. So before we got started,
Yeah.
You said you were digging into some client answers. What was going on?
Oh, geez, well, you know, questions that come up all the time
Okay.
that clients have can be answered in different ways depending on the situation. And
Okay.
this past week, last weekend, as a matter of fact, I went under contract
Mhm.
with a home.
Congrats.
And yay, it's
Yes,
nice,
yes,
it's nice.
yes.
And we're on the buying side.
For sure.
And the clients want to forego a survey.
Oh.
And so, you know, my subject today will be surveys and maybe what they're good for and if you should or shouldn't forego them. And my recommendation all the time is, you know, get a survey.
Mhm.
They're getting more expensive, so that's...
They are.
Yeah, I remember when they were like $300, $350, and now
No.
they're $750, $850, $950.
I have one that's a little bit even more.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to check out who your vendor is.
Well, and they're also getting backlogged.
Mhm.
You know, it used to be call a surveyor and, you know, in a week,
Mm-hmm.
3 days a week, 10 days, they could be out there to get the survey done. And now
Mhm.
somebody was telling me it's like 4 or 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough.
Yeah, I went under contract the middle of October and they just came out and did the survey probably 3 weeks ago.
Dang. Yeah, so that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But that's you know, you deal with it. That's
Yeah.
the world we're living in.
Yeah.
And you said you had what your topic was going to be today.
Oh, my topic today is all about title insurance, and that's important
Yeah.
because it basically protects you from fraudulent activity on your title. So you can go through the whole process of owning your home and all that good stuff, but if someone comes back and say, hey, that's actually my home, the title insurance is able to protect the buyer.
Yeah, that's
through that
nice.
process. Yes. So my client actually didn't know what level of title insurance to purchase. So it's like you can have an enhanced version, you can have a standard version, and then the lender also has title insurance as well, which
Protects them.
it protects them and the money that they're loaning and lending out. So yeah.
And I used to always think, title insurance wise,
Mhm.
you got that because you're buying a chunk of land,
Mhm.
and we've been here for a couple hundred years, you know,
Mhm.
hundreds of years. And what if,
Mhm.
you know, way back in the day, in North Carolina, there's a lot of Indian tribes. Hopefully, doesn't sound discriminatory, but there's a lot of
Mhm.
Indian tribes. What if they had a claim on some land
Mhm.
that still runs with the land today,
Right.
and you bought a house on it?
Right.
You know, that's what the title insurance can protect
Right.
in some senses. Yeah.
Yep, so it can protect things like that. I also heard a story, don't quote me wrong, but it's like sometimes it happens through marriage, or like people will leave
Mhm.
and that land is left to them and they don't know that that land is left to them.
Yeah.
So say, you know, you leave your land or your home to someone and you go off and you never come back to it, and then but you have an heir to it.
Oh, and they
They-
come back and go, I want that land.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's what title insurance is good for. So just making sure that we're able to get our clients the right information about what they should expect and why title insurance is important.
Yeah, it's good. And I had a case.
Mhm.
Sound like an attorney. I had a client who
Okay.
was buying some land in Waxhaw, south of Waxhaw,
Okay.
and the attorney was doing the title search, and he had to go to Raleigh. And the way I understood it was they actually went and looked in an old
That's
box
crazy.
or an old book, because you know some of that land has been passed on for hundreds of years.
Mhm.
But they had to do some deep research to make sure they were figuring out who owned what and
Yeah.
who was the proper owner and the chain of command or chain of custody or something like that in the
Yeah.
land. So it's not just, oh, yep, it looks good.
Right.
It's research they do have to do sometimes.
Yep. I don't have the patience for that. So that's why we play the closing attorneys, right?
That's right. That's what they get paid for. They don't just say, okay, come to closing, we're going to read you your numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
We're getting all sorts of different stuff.
We are. We're
Yeah.
getting all different sorts of topics. Okay, so we talked about we said title insurance. Remind me of yours again.
Survey.
Survey. Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you who do not know,
Yeah.
Dave, tell us what a survey is.
I don't know. But it's I guess without preparing proper language, you're buying a chunk of land.
Yep.
And you want to know where the boundaries are,
Mm-hmm.
the borders are in that chunk of land.
Yep.
And way back when they first started dividing up land,
Mhm.
they used posts. There's a lot of what we call pins, which is actually a metal pin pounded into the ground that you'll see in a lot of neighborhoods. That is like a starting point for measuring the land. And you might shoot an azimuth, a direction, according to a compass from one pin, and it was written down 25 years ago that you shoot 180-degree azimuth and you should find another pin 100 yards out or 200 yards out or whatever the distance is. So it's really a calculation using scientific methods, surveying methods and expertise to find out what exactly you're buying.
Yes.
And the reason for the surveys, you might buy a piece of land, checking out the microphone here, but you might buy a piece of land that was sold 15, 20 years ago. And maybe the development and the area wasn't really super developed, so there weren't power lines going through it and all that stuff. And over the next 15, 20 years, sewer line went through the back of the land a little bit.
So it's changed.
You know, right, an easement or an encroachment, or an encroachment could be a fence. A neighbor came and he put a fence up next to your property. A survey is going to tell you if there's an easement going across your property. And the reason you want that is you don't want to buy the land, put your pool up in the backyard, and find out that, oh my God, Duke Power's got an easement 15 feet into your pool,
right,
and they need to do some work. They're going to come and dig up your pool, tear your pool up, move it out of the way, and I think that there's no liability on their behalf because you should have known where you were putting your pool. And then your neighbor, he's got a fence up, and it's 2 feet on your property. A lot of times that gets worked out, no big deal, but sometimes, a buyer says, I don't want that fence on my property.
And then what if you have a crazy neighbor?
You have a crazy neighbor.
You know what I mean? Like you're there for 30 years per your agreement with that bank. So what if you have a crazy neighbor? So it's important to know, like, this is where my threshold is. This is what I'm responsible for and all that good stuff.
And if my client, the buyer, wants that fence moved, then we leave that up to the seller to fix that. And there can be things like you could do, oh my God, what's it called? Where an easement letter, encroachment letter, and you can have that recorded. And I had this situation one time where there was a brick fence, brick wall, a little bit on either on my client's land or on the other property, and all the two neighbors agreed, hey, let's just write up something legalese. So we had John Clements from McNaughton Clements write up a letter, and then we had it recorded, and it said, you know what, that's going to be fine where it is. Neither party's going to bother with it, and it runs with the land, so buyers and sellers aren't going to worry about it either. However, if the wall comes down, then you can't rebuild it on one person's property. You got to put it back on your property.
Put it back on your property.
That's an easement letter, I think that's called.
Okay. So I learned about some of that in real estate school. But in real estate school, you learn all this stuff, but it's not real until you get into the field. Well,
and that sort of thing happens once, twice, 3 times. I mean, it can happen more, but very few times that's going to be something that pops up.
Right.
But when it does pop up, you should kind of
You got to know. You have to know. So buying a house isn't just like, oh, I found the house, it passed inspection, right? It's not just that. It's being able to go all across the board to see that the buyers are covered.
And I do think realtors are worth their money.
100%.
Maybe not in this transaction or that transaction or that one, because that one was, you say easy, but there's still a process. And there's still things you've got to get done. But sometimes, you've got a disaster. And I've heard of closings that took an extra week, month, 2 months, because of survey issues and then fighting back and forth or title issues. I think my closing of land took probably an extra 3 weeks to a month.
That's insane.
Because it was that deep dive.
That's insane. I think hitting on that though, realtors, we are working on money, but I think having a system to take the clients through. That's been my biggest learning curve as I get in the industry, is making sure that it's like some type of system so they know what to expect. So even though it's going to be different every transaction, they know, okay, I still have to get an inspection. She's going to recommend a survey. We still have to do the title work, that type of thing. Versus just everybody being all over the place. So I don't know what's going to happen. Then it makes it uncomfortable for the client, because it's like,
they're on pins, and they're like, well, what's happening next? Yeah, we don't know.
I don't want them to ask me a question that I should have already given them through a system. You know what I mean?
And no matter how long you do this business, you're always going to miss something. Almost always. And go, I should have remembered that, and then you look at your sheet and you go, yep, it's on my checklist here, but I didn't have that in front of me, or I didn't have that in my buyer's guide to my buyer.
Right.
So yeah, you miss it here and there,
Right.
and everything goes smoothly,
Right.
but you kind of remember next time, not to forget that little box you're supposed to check.
Oh, for sure. It's a full weighted picture. Like it feels heavy, but in theory it sounds like, oh, you just find a house, you put in an offer, how are we gonna finance it? We inspect it, you close. But it's like, it's not that. Yeah. It's not that simple.
Yeah. And I think what the key for us is when we're working with clients is to kind of put those checks up front and kind of walk the buyer or the seller through. Here's how I do business. Here's how my company does business. Here's the right way to do business. And they vary from agent to agent and from firm to firm. Firm policies. But there's things you got to do, get pre-approved before you go out there. Not to be sexist, but sometimes women, they want to make sure they know who they're dealing with, and guys are knuckleheads. Sometimes we're like, throw them in my car. But I don't do that much anymore, but I still want to know who I'm working with. But you get a driver's license picture.
Oh, for sure.
Leave that at the front desk.
I tell people up front. So if you're watching this and you decide to work with me, you're going to upload your ID. It's in my initial contact paperwork. So you schedule a consultation, and then once you decide that you want to work with me, there's a form that comes through, and then there's a little spot for them to upload their ID. Because I'm by myself, you know what I mean? And not to, but yes, it's important.
Yeah, and I do the important things. Like, I don't make them upload an ID, but I do make them sign a waiver that they're buying like the first beer after we close.
That's fair.
Because that's important.
That's very important.
Yeah.
I have a sushi date with my closing on the 11th. We share the same birthday, and I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we share the same birthday, so we're doing sushi. So not beer, but sushi.
Well, and I've got a client who's having a barbecue sometime. They're moving their stuff in, and he's always said, we're going to have you over for a barbecue. And the funny thing is, I had the same inspector from one home to another, and he said, hey, your client, I won't mention his name, he's going to invite me to the barbecue, and everybody else. So that's, if he's watching this, we're still waiting. No, it's not. No.
Yes.
No, they're busy getting stuff moved in. They get some kids, but great clients, and so I'm looking forward to a barbecue.
You deserve it. You guys deserve it. Yeah. I didn't realize how clients turn into family.
Yeah, it is.
No one prepared me for that.
Yeah. And then, you get sad, though, sometimes, because you had such a great relationship with some clients.
He said some clients.
Well, I mean, with a lot of them. But then there's some you had a good relationship with, and just things happen, and you don't talk to them that much. Maybe you send them a couple things, you say hello once in a while.
Right.
But you don't have the same relationship you had with them during when you were looking for a home or selling a home.
Yeah.
I miss that. And
for sure.
After a while, there's so many of them, and I do miss the
Big
relationship.
Mama. He said so many of them.
Well, but I've been doing it for a while, yeah. Not many every year, but many in the long run.
But you have a strong clientele.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I really like it when I do get to see some clients. It is kind of cool. I just wish I could see more.
Yeah.
And that's on me. That's 100% my fault. My issue. It's not them.
So I didn't realize coming into the industry, because it's such a, not necessarily an emotional transaction, but it's tied to life goals, or somebody might be getting married, somebody might be getting divorced. You have to cut straight to the meat of the subject, versus you can't play, well, do you like this? You have to be very direct in this type of business, and not even necessarily from the negotiation standpoint, but what are you looking for? How soon do we have to get it? No, you said. And so that has been an adjustment for me as well, of being able to still keep the relationship great, but keep people on track, keep the clients on track. And I learned that no, you gotta get straight to the point. You said you moving by December. Okay, this is what we want to do. This is how that's gonna look.
So how do you get there? How do you get to know?
So for me, I think it's just really kind of just being myself, and I rely a lot on laughter.
Yeah.
A warm.
No laughter. It's not fun.
Right. Yeah. Once people warm up, it's I can kind of get them to see, and I can kind of hear them, because I can kind of see what makes you laugh. What does So it's more emotional intelligence than it is anything that I've learned in anything.
Yeah.
It's more emotional intelligence. Okay, I saw her eye twitch when I mentioned this. Okay, so that's not. I'm reading body language
Yeah.
like no other.
And I know for me, it's asking questions. And one of the things there's formats you're supposed to go through, talk about their family and their occupation, and what recreation, their dreams, and all that sort of thing. Yeah. And for me, the big question is why, not the big why, but tell me why. Tell me why you're making a move, or tell me why you want to sell, or tell me what your plans are. Yep. And then to get to whatever you're looking for and what I'm looking for, we can get there too with some of those questions. Right. And they start telling you, well, I got my kids are up here now. Now I don't want to be too close to them, but I don't want to be 3,000 miles away anymore.
Exactly.
And it's funny because some of them don't want to live next door. Right. And then some say, no, I want to be right next door to my kids. And then you talk to the kids and they go, oh yeah, I want my parents right next door. Yeah. And then others, both the kids and the parents are like, no, we need about 15, 20 miles. And it's the right thing for either one. Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Finding out the why. Yeah. Finding out the why, and then for me, it's definitely the relationship piece. Yeah. Yeah. I ask a lot of questions too. I really don't mind my business when it comes to the conversation, that type of thing. And that's been hard, but I think what helped me with that, honestly, I was a bartender before being a real estate agent. And then before being a bartender, I was a teacher. So it's a lot of teachers and bartenders in this business. Yeah. Oh my God, and you got the combination. Yeah. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I think that's what has kind of helped me. But the why is definitely important, for sure. And sometimes you have to dig. Yeah. Why do you want to move here? Oh, I want to be on the lake, and I want a boat, and all that sort of thing. And then 3 months later, you're buying a house on the interior of 277, uptown condo. Yes. And it's like, what? And you found that out as you went along. And asked, well, why do you want to look uptown now? Well, maybe the boat's too expensive. Well, I don't know. All sorts of different things. So it becomes psychology. I feel like I'm a One time, I took a couple out on the show. If y'all watching this, I would not reveal your name, but you know who you are. I took a couple to see a house, and I was like, this has turned into marriage therapy. Like, this has turned into couples counseling. The lady started crying. We got to the bottom of what kind of wedding they really wanted. And it was like, we were just here to see a house. But taking notes. Yes. Yeah. But it built trust. Like, granted, did I need to know all their business in that moment? It was important for them. But it built trust. Like, okay, well, she can walk us through this. Talking about putting an offer in on a home, that's light work. I helped them decide literally the week after they booked their venue. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. So they were fighting. It was just weird. Well, yeah. I was just going to say something that I've lost track. But yeah, a lot of people think you're opening a door, and you are. You get in my car. Let's go open a door. You guys like this? Great. We're going to buy it, write a contract, and you're done. And it's so much more than that. It could be opening a bunch of doors, and while you're opening doors, the emotional side, you do get involved with clients. I mean, and it's hard to shut that off. All right, we're home now. I'm shutting it off. Right. You do think about them. Right. Wonder if I should have said this, or wonder what I can help with. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you sounded like a wedding planner there for a second. I did. I don't know. People just tell me all their business. I welcome it, though. Yeah. I welcome it. Sometimes I think I can be unemotional. Really? Where, maybe it's, I spent a bunch of time in the service, and you weren't unemotional in the service, but it was a lot more black and white. It was like, you do this or you do that. Okay. And then there's some nuances in between. Okay. So sometimes I feel like, what's a good way to explain it? I'm trying not to be emotional with my clients because I want them to be logical in the purchase. And I don't want it to be all on emotion because, that can wear off. Yeah. So I want to not necessarily give all my opinions. Yeah. Because I'm in a different place than they are. Yeah. And, we all are. But every once in a while it becomes, become more attached to the client. And I do get more personal with them and then give my opinions a little bit more than I might normally. And that, I think that's good. But on the other hand, too, is like, all right, hopefully I'm not steering them in the wrong way because of this is the way I feel. Yeah. I had an experience early on with a client. We're closing in a couple weeks. And she got burnt out of looking at houses. Yeah. Between life happening with her, she got burnt out. But she's like, I really need to move. And so she's like, can you just go look at the houses for me first? Oh. Yeah, that's tough.
And so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I did it. So found the house, all that good stuff, but it needed some work and all, you know, but it had strong equity, like it just really good. But I told her, I said, listen, before we submit an offer, you have to go look at this house yourself.
Yeah.
And see, you know, what is. But for me, I just wasn't expecting that much of a personal relationship in this industry. I thought it was very much so like doop, step by step. But
Yeah.
you didn't want people in life in the midst of what's going on, so.
And you do have some of that too, where
Okay.
it's here's my client,
Okay.
good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you're done,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, either you or the client, maybe they don't want to, hey, I don't want to socialize, I don't want to go have you over for drinks
Right,
or for chicken
right.
or for wine or for
Right,
whatever it is.
right.
Yeah, and you know, you keep in touch with them, and if you're a good agent, hopefully you keep them informed of what's going on. But there are some where it's, you know, it's the transaction, because it can be transactional. And I have had clients, you know, later on say, you know, we miss hanging out with you, you know, because we looked at 124 houses.
Right.
But sometimes it is like that, and other times it's, you know, you're always talking to them. I just got a call this morning from a guy that I sold a bunch of apartments turned to condos
Oh, that's dope.
15 plus years ago, and we've had probably 4 or 5 deals in between, and I have a pie day. So if you got my pie card, make sure you're coming to my pie day, November 24th. Yeah, there we go. Plug
Yes.
that. But you know, he just called me this morning before I jumped in here, and we talked last week. So, and I see him at least once a year, sometimes 2 or 3 times a year. You know, so you do build, you know, that's a business personal relationship.
Right.
We've done a couple things on the side to help a veteran, you know,
Right.
move into a place, and you know, he was a vet and I'm a vet, and so you do build those bonds. But a lot of times though, it's the transaction.
It's the transaction.
Yeah. Especially if they're moving away.
Yeah.
I think probably more so.
Okay.
Because you might not see them ever.
Right.
I mean, I send pie cards out to a couple clients that I sold their house 10, 12 years ago. Haven't spoken to them. I've sent them a couple things. I think they live in Kentucky now or Tennessee.
That's insane.
But it's like, I just feel like I'm going to send that out to them. And someday they might be passing through and say, hey, we're coming to get a pie. And I'd be like, holy cow.
Yeah. But the big thing is that you stay connected.
Yeah.
Regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's an opportunity for it. Regardless if you come get the pie or not.
Yep.
There's an opportunity for it.
Yeah, there's a touch. Yeah.
There's a touch. There's a touch.
And then when they come and they had like a 2-year-old, and their 2-year-old is 17, and you go, oh my God.
I know. Kids grow up so fast.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's a lot.
Your kids are in here sometimes. That's cool.
Yes. Trying to train them up.
No, they're like well behaved.
I appreciate it.
Yep. They are because they sit there. It's just funny. Yeah.
Yeah. They're good.
Sometimes you
kids.
get some maniacs in here.
I know.
And I mean the agents, not the kids. But then the kids too.
I'm telling you. No, I enjoy my babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I do it, honestly. Because it gives me freedom to be like their mom.
Yeah.
And everything else I was doing prior to it, I didn't feel in that space to be their mom. This lets me serve, but my day is my day. And, you know, that's what I appreciate about it. I know that's a little bit off subject, but that's why.
Yeah, we're talking about surveys and title insurance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's how I got started in real estate. I needed the freedom.
Yeah.
I really did.
Well, and I think, you know, we set our own schedules.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk to new agents, and especially at like a Superior School or something, they say, oh my God, this is a 24/7 job, 365. And it can be.
Right.
And you can make it that.
Right.
But then I go back and I tell a story. My kids played soccer. My 2 that were here in Charlotte both played soccer.
Okay.
And I use my son as an example. In 4 years of you know, playing high school varsity soccer and everything, I can remember 2 games I missed.
See?
Harding High School and Catholic game when he was a sophomore, because that was on my calendar.
Right.
As here's my appointment.
Yep.
And if someone said, hey, can you show me a house tonight at 6, I would go pull out my phone. Oh, you know, I've got an obligation. Now, if they were a friend
Right.
or a client that I did lots of business with, I would probably say, oh, yeah, Ethan's got a game tonight, or Dana's got a game.
Right.
And they go, oh yeah, we can do it tomorrow or the next day.
Right.
And they'd be fine. And if they didn't say that, I'd say, well, you need to go find a new realtor.
Yeah.
But, you know, we set our own calendar, and believe it is Saturdays, Sundays,
It is.
a number of times, and
It
some
is.
nighttime stuff. You know, everybody wants to show you their home at 6 or 7 or 8, and that's the business.
Right.
But again, you know, you've got to put your family stuff on there.
For sure.
And I think that's the bonus in the business is you don't miss your kids'
I
stuff,
don't.
you know, and there's going to be that time when you do,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I missed this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it had to be really important to
Right,
miss it.
right,
That's what I
right.
love about it too.
Yeah, I
That's cool.
do. I definitely love that.
Yeah.
I homeschooled in the beginning. That was chaotic.
Oh my gosh.
That was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I loved it, you
Yeah.
know, but it does take a minute to kind of like, you know, figure out what, because real estate is such a broad industry. You know, you can do like commercial, you solely want to work with investors, you can create whatever you want to create. So for
Yeah.
me, it's been trying to figure out what is it that I'm good at? What is it, how can I show up as my best self with the, you know, requirements of showing up as their mom as well. So
Yeah.
that's had this learning curve for sure.
Yeah, and you know, people always ask, not people, but
Mhm.
coaches, or if you're in a class, a
Mhm.
real estate class, I always say, you know, so what's your big why? And then
Mhm.
you get like 7 minutes to figure out your big why. If you
Mhm.
haven't. I'm thinking, for me, that's more cerebral. You got to,
Uh-oh.
you got to be really thinking about it
Mhm.
in depth. And it always goes back to family somewhere.
Yes.
And I just heard recently, well, family's pretty broad. You know, dig it down. I'm thinking, I don't want to dig it down.
It's
Because
family.
it's not.
Yeah.
It is, I want to help. When they have tough times, I want to be able to help provide.
Yep.
Either emotional support.
Yep.
We're starting to talk about psychology here instead of
Mhm.
real estate. But,
Mhm.
you know, I want to do that, and or financial support. And,
Mhm.
you know, that's what would drive me, is that sort of thing. And I think this business can be that for you.
Mhm.
You've got to do certain things in the business.
You do, and I think also another side for me is also attracting the type of clients that I am. So when I'm working
Yeah.
with clients, like all my clients there are all women.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a single mom, and so
Wait, so am I. No.
so like being able to see people's lives reflected in my life, like you begin to realize like we're all one and the same.
Yeah.
So my big why is my kids and being able to show up emotionally and financially, but then it's also the other piece of like I just helped her get into her home with
Yeah.
her son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like what that means for him and what that means for her and being the first time homeowner. So you know, I don't think there's any better business. I mean, I've done another business, but for me, it seems so natural. It's like you get to help, you get to create the life you want, and you get to create the life at the level that you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And for me,
Mhm.
when you say that, when you say, oh, you know, I helped them get into a house, and it's
Mhm.
going to be, you know, they're going to have a good family life there,
Mhm.
and whatever it is. My first thought is, oh, it's a bunch of foo-foo stuff. You know,
Mhm.
I just get them a house. They just
Mhm.
need a house. Get them a house.
Really?
Well, I said initially.
Okay.
First.
Okay.
And you know, that's maybe just the way I was
That's a
raised.
veteran.
Yeah, you know, some of the Army stuff. Just
Mhm.
accomplish the mission, get it done.
Mhm.
But then when you help certain clients, because some of them it is, like I said, transactional. They just want a
Right.
house.
Right.
But for others, you know, you do see the little kid.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, in the backyard.
Mhm.
Or you do see the husband, and he likes the man room, or the wife, likes
Mhm.
whatever they like.
Mhm.
And, you know, that does, you know, touch you a little bit. You know?
It's okay to be in touch with your feelings, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You afraid you're gonna cry forever?
I should have my pink shirt on. I do have a pink shirt. Oh, no, it's salmon. My wife
Okay.
said that's salmon.
Okay.
So, but, you know, I do, my initial thought is, hey, I'm going to get you a house.
Mhm.
You know, not, I want to get you a home. But then I do feel good about, you know, putting people in the right place.
Mhm.
And hopefully it's 100%, but you know, it never is 100%
Oh,
of the
for
time.
sure.
But it does feel good. And it
Mhm.
goes, all right, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and see if I can do that
Yes.
for somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, you know, in my community, in our culture, like sometimes getting a house is like the pinnacle, the peak of the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially when you hear stories, like, you know, sometimes you don't set out to, you know, purchase a home by yourself. Or so just watching people overcome those mental roadblocks. It's like, girl, no, it was not that hard. All we had to, and you stuck to the plan, and you know, that type of thing.
Yep.
So that warms my heart because
Yeah.
I understand what it's like to build literally from nothing.
Yeah.
It's just nothing, and you're like, where in the world am I gonna go? So that matters a lot to
That's
me.
kind of cool.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part matters a lot to me.
It does make you go,
It truly,
You know,
truly.
Just a big sigh. It's just a bit an accomplishment. Not an accomplishment like I did something,
Right.
but like, wow, I'm so happy that they got what they wanted, and I was able to help them.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what? It's even better when they appreciate it.
And that's what I was gonna say. The next,
then you do get up the next day and go help somebody else.
and so that's the other piece too, helping them understand. Okay, this is what happens.
Yeah.
This is what this means. So you purchased a house in a neighborhood that's going for X amount, but you got it for this amount, and like, you know, all of those things. So just, yeah, it's a big thing for me.
Yeah,
For sure, for sure.
I like that. Maybe we should stop at that note.
Okay.
Because this is like our first one. We gotta have something for next time.
Sounds good to
There's
me.
nothing else to talk about in real estate. That's it, right?
That's it. That's
We're
it
done.
for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
You want to? I'll let you
Thanks.
close it out.
well, thanks for listening.
Yes.
If you guys want to hear about different things in real estate, like we talked about surveys and titles, if you want to hear about something different, anything about real estate, buying a home, selling a home, investing in a home, don't kill us with commercial because we're not commercial experts.
At all.
But we can always find one and put it in the chair right here.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few, a good.
Yeah, we do have some
Yeah.
great ones.
Mhm,
We've got a
mhm.
great commercial division here at
Mhm.
KW. But you know, put that in the comments. Let us know what you want to hear. And next time we're going to have to say this earlier too in our little presentation.
For sure.
Hey, if you have things you want to know. But
We'll make a little form. I'll make a form.
Yeah.
So okay, yep, we got
Yeah.
it. That way, yes, I got us.
All right, so we get a little high five.
Yes.
All right.
I'm Destini Monique from KW Valentine.
And I'm Dave DeSilva with LongTab Realty, brokered by KW Valentine.
Period. We'll see you in the next video.
Thanks. See ya.